here tripping and finesse. It don't make no sense. Out here tripping and finesse. You know it, you know. Out here tripping and finesse. It don't make no sense. Out here tripping and finesse. You know it, you know it. Now.
Alright guys, welcome to the How to Navigate the Polynomials and Rational Functions module. That's right, so that song was played because a lot of you guys have been finessing your work, meaning that you guys have been overcoming those challenges and obstacles and finessing this course, and that's awesome. So I really want to make sure that I give you guys praise for making it this far in the course. So as always, we're going to kick this off by going to the Towson Gold navigation menu, and we're going to look at what's in store for us. Alright, so there's some expectations here. We're going to be talking about solving quadratic functions, talking about describing graphs of those functions, talking about graphing polynomials, talking end behavior, talking about what happens at turning points on a graph, doing division of polynomials, finding zeros of polynomials, and then doing some graphing and solving of rational functions. So this module has 5 lessons in it, and all of the expectations I kind of just went over is what's going to be in these lessons. As always, all of your lessons has a reading, a video lecture, and my math lab assignments to complete. So you're submitting basically 3 things in this module. You're submitting your My Math Lab assignments, you're submitting 2 truths and a lie, which I'll go over that in some details in a moment, and then you're submitting your Quadratics deployment activity. So all of that we're going to go over in just a minute. Okay? So as always, I recommend that you take a look at this end of the syllabus schedule and the course calendar as well. You're going to notice that we are already in April, and this is lasting for about 2 weeks. There are 3 lessons that are going to be due by the 14th. So 3 lessons in the first week of this module and 2 lessons at the end of this module. So I just want to make sure that you're looking at both this end of the syllabus schedule and the course calendar, so that way you're pacing yourself accordingly and you're meeting the deadlines of the assignments. Alright, so the first thing we're going to look at is a 2 truths and a lie activity. This is something that you're not going to see my initial post for, because everyone has to create a thread or create a post before they can see anyone else's. So in order to see the prompt, you're going to actually have to create a thread. And so I don't know if you've ever played this game before, but it's called 2 truths and a lie. And so what typically happens is there's some kind of a statement, or it could be about yourself, or there's something that's posed, and the person has to write 2 truths and 1 lie. Everyone shares, and then everyone has to try and guess the lie and say why they think it's a lie. So basically we're going to do that game, but we're going to do it about quadratic. And I know quadratics, yeah, I had to ruin the fun, right? So I've given you this quadratic. Your job is to come up with 2 truths and 1 lie about this function. So when I say that, I mean, think about things that have been talked about in this module. Talk about things that you've learned prior about quadratics. So some of the things I've mentioned is, when you graph this quadratic, does it open up? But maybe you put it opens down, and that's your false statement, that's your lie, and people have to figure that out. Or maybe the y-intercept I said was 3, and it actually is 3. Not really. I mean, it could be. That's not necessarily the y-intercept. But let's say it was, I could say that's my true statement. So you're just going to list out, the first part of your initial post is just writing your 2 truths and your lie and posting it. Once you have posted your initial posting, you're going to go and find someone else's post that looks interesting to you, and all you're going to do is write what you think the lie is of the 3 statements and write why you think it's the lie. based upon information that you have learned in this module and in previous modules. You'll talk about why that was the lie. So you'll notice that it's 5-point discussion, kind of a thing. This is not a discussion that is you have to post an initial response by this day and you have to post peer replies by this day. It's just an assignment that's done in discussions because it's easier to communicate with one another and respond to the lie that way. But you'll notice that you get 2 points for having just completing all the requirements. And then you'll get 2 points for your true statements and then 1 point for your one false statement. As long as it's actually true statements and actually a false statement, you'll get those points. Okay? So the 2 points for completing all the requirements, it's 1 point for posting your initial response, 1 point for replying, the 2 points for the true statements, and then 1 point for the one false statement or the lie. Okay? Alright, so hopefully that's pretty straightforward to you. If not, you know where to write questions in the coffee lounge. Email, call me, whatever you need to do. Okay? Next thing is the Quadratics deployment activity. This is, again, another group activity. Feel free to use the same group members you did the last time or make up new ones. You can use the coffee lounge to gather groups. You can go back to that getting started module and go to the peer information that's listed there and have everybody's information there. You can contact someone else if your old group wasn't working out for you. But it's pretty much basically a lot of the same stuff that you did in the function task, same kind of format. So when I pull it up, you're going to notice that it's kind of the same format. There is, and this time you're talking about quadratic functions. You're talking about, you're talking about these functions. You're going to be analyzing them, graphing them, and so it's allowing you to become familiar with quadratic functions, and you're going to have to describe some of the characteristics. You're going to be describing, the data. You're going to be describing the characteristics of the graphs, and then looking at some additional information. So, again, however you want to divide this up within your group, that's fine. Just make sure that you have everything typed. You're going to want to make sure that you, again, with the graphs, you either upload them from Desmos or Wolfram Alpha or another graphing tool online. You're going to want to make sure that if you decide to hand draw the graphs, which is okay, that you insert them into one document and not attach separate graphs. Because, again, you're submitting one document. Same as before, everyone is submitting a document. So you're going to notice that back on the submission screen, you're going to have to click on that green Quadratics deployment, and that will bring you to the page for you to submit the assignment. Same as before, you're not writing a submission unless you're giving me information on a situation that happened with your group. But as always, if something happened with your group, I should hear about it early on rather than in this submission of your assignment. Everyone's required to submit a Word doc or a PDF. Make sure all group members' names are on the document, and that should be it. There's not a whole lot to this team activity, just like before. It's really to get you guys to communicate with one another, really use that vocabulary, and again, it provides another opportunity for me to assess you without having to give you a test or a quiz. So, again, busy work has true value and is there for me to assess you in a different way. Okay, you know how to reach me if you need to get a hold of me. Use the coffee lounge, phone, email, however you need to. Let's get it done, folks.